From Method Products, Jeremy Bruno. First, some supporters to thank, and thank you for listening. This episode is supported by CCW Digital, leaders responsible for operations, information technology, contact centers, customer care, service, and support are invited to register for a free CCW Digital membership. Membership includes networking with 100,000 plus qualified industry professionals, quarterly executive research reports, product matchmaking, and more. Go to ccwdigital.com to join the community. This episode is also supported by the CCW Conference and Expo. The event will empower you to test, learn, and try the next big thing in customer experience optimization. Are you interested in mining data across touch points for personalized and predictive data? Are you trying to integrate your systems to get a more complete view of the customer? Are you figuring out what innovations to invest in? Chatbots, virtual assistants, AI, VR, biometrics, to name a few? Go to callcenterweek.com to register. Recorded at Next Generation Customer Delivery, Jeremy Bruno joins us and shares that his title at Method's Products is Optimus Prime, as Method is an organization that likes not to do things in a traditional way. A son of two entrepreneurs, Jeremy held various positions at each of his parents' businesses. His degrees in engineering management and packaging science literally served as perfect education to understand how operations integrates into marketing and design so the product is manufactured in a cost-effective way that can seamlessly be delivered to a retailer and which can surprise and delight the consumer. Jeremy knows the consumer wants convenience, safety, and the ability to potentially have pride in the product. Welcome to CCW Digital on B2B IQ. I'm your host, Seth Adler. Download episodes on ccwdigital.com or through our app in iTunes, within the iTunes podcast app, in Google Play, or wherever you currently get your podcasts. From Method, Jeremy Bruno. Just tell us what the job title is on the business card, because it's beautiful.
Yeah. So my formal title is Senior Director of Supply Chain. My weird title at Method Products is Optimus Prime.
Which is fantastic, because you're in charge of operations. And I guess we're all children of the 80s in some way, right?
Exactly.
So that's the Transformers for anybody that's not picking up on that.
Very good.
So it's more than meets the eye, what you do for a living. Is that fair?
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
How did you start in the supply chain game? How do we have the pleasure of knowing you?
Yeah, well, it's a good question. You know, I started out my career actually coming from more of a technical engineering-based role. Throughout, the course of my career, I kind of went from, more of an engineering role into general project management and then into supply chain. So it's not something I went to school for. It's just something that I've, over the years have become accustomed to and had the fortunate ability to kind of move into those roles.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, math and science, you were all about that, right?
That is correct.
Where'd you grow up?
Missouri, small town of Missouri.
Where?
So Rolla, Missouri is the name of the town.
Okay.
So
closer to the Cardinals or closer to the Royals?
So we are Cardinals fans.
Okay.
Definitely Cardinals fans.
All right. And who played shortstop when you were a kid?
Oh, Ozzie Smith.
Okay.
Of course.
So what
You're
are the
testing my knowledge?
So and Tom Herr played second base, right? Should we do the whole thing with the Terry Pendleton at third base?
I'm actually pretty amazed. You must have grown up somewhere similar.
Well, kinda. You had a nickname for a team in the Northeast.
Is this the Yankees?
No.
No?
In the same division.
Oh.
It was the Mets.
Okay.
Do you remember what you used to call the Mets?
Do not.
All right.
No.
So then maybe you're a little younger than we thought. But anyway, because it was a rivalry back then. It was a real rivalry. The Cardinals fans used to call the Mets pond scum.
Oh, okay.
Which, coming from the Midwest, that's a pretty terrible thing to say.
It is not a term of endearment,
No.
that's for sure.
This does not sound like a big town that you grew up in, though.
No, it was a very small town.
What were your folks doing for a living?
So actually, my mom was a fourth generation, or third generation, owner of a lumberyard.
Look at that.
In small town Missouri.
This is your mother.
Yeah, my mother.
All right.
It started with my great grandfather. And then my father actually started and owned a restaurant while I was growing up.
Okay, so these are both business owners.
Both business owners,
and
yeah.
your mother knows about Mississippi loblolly pine, I'm sure.
I guess so.
I
Yes.
guess so,
I
whatever
do
that
not
is.
know about that, but yes.
And did you spend more time in the restaurant then?
I worked at both actually. So
did.
I worked at the lumberyard every summer after I think I turned the age of 14, 15.
What are you doing?
Like
Chopping
that.
wood?
And
What are you
then,
doing?
a lot of times just cleaning up the place.
Mhm.
And then creating deliveries. A bunch of 2x4s, packing them up into back of people's trucks.
At the beginning of the supply chain.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And then now you're waiting tables or
Yeah,
bussing tables.
And then through as I got a little bit older, then I did about every job that you could at a restaurant.
Okay.
Went from a host to a waiter to a dishwasher to a cook to anyway. So I did
Tell
about
us
every
what it's
job you
like
could.
in the kitchen of a restaurant.
It's actually pretty fun. You're kind of hanging out with the friends that you have. Behind closed doors for the most part.
Sure.
So it's actually pretty fun. It's fast paced environment.
What happens if you make the cook upset?
It's a good question. Generally not good.
Yeah,
right?
don't do it.
He runs the show.
No matter what your father says, right?
Never, yeah.
All right, so you got two business owners, brothers or sisters?
I have younger brother, younger sister.
All right, so you're the oldest.
I am.
Where'd you go to school? College, I mean.
So I went to an engineering school in Missouri called Missouri University of Science and Technology.
Very
And then,
technical.
and then I went to grad school at Michigan State.
Okay, Spartans.
Yep.
Do you remember Mateen Cleaves?
Oh yeah.
There you go.
definitely.
He had a very good Final Four one year.
Yes. Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
You don't remember Magic Johnson.
That's
way before your time.
Not playing
Yeah.
for Michigan State. No, I
Exactly.
definitely don't.
All right, and so in graduate school, what did you pick up there? What did you realize about yourself? Really, is what I'm asking.
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I'll try to stick to the professional parts of it, but I think what I went to school for actually, which is very unique and not something that everyone goes to school for, was packaging science. And so,
wow.
My undergrad was in engineering management, very broad based degree. Went to graduate school for packaging science, which really helped me focus in a certain area, and that enabled me to really get a job. Coming out of grad school to really specialize in a certain area, and that's what I did.
Mm-hmm. Packaging science.
Yeah.
All right. So what do they teach you in packaging science that you can apply at a consumer packaged good company?
Yeah. I mean, I think the combination of the degrees that I had, right, allowed you to think technically, and how products are designed for manufacturing, how products are designed for the consumer, and so you leverage those skill sets, right, and then how you go about your day-to-day business. And so, as and specific example is, how you can, integrate yourself into the marketing plans, the marketing program to design a product so that it's manufactured in an effective, cost-effective way. And it can be delivered to consumers, and they receive the quality product they're expecting.
So forget about the consumer for a second.
Yeah.
We will absolutely come back to the consumer.
Yeah.
But this is a dangerous territory to be in when you're talking about kind of bridging the gap between marketing and manufacturing.
Yeah.
If you're the guy on the line as far as the packaging technology, right? How did you? What was your first job out of school?
So I worked for E&J Gallo Winery.
All right. So E&J Gallo. So I mean, there are.
Big
Talk about
company.
shipping. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
very,
getting
very big
product
company.
out the door.
Yep.
But how, you're a young guy coming into EJ Gallo. What was that like, kind of talking to this fiefdom and relating it to that fiefdom?
It's a good question. So it's E&J Gallo, great company, very big company that you come in and you really learn and grow from, and and I think they realize the benefit of bridging those two, right? Creating a product that the consumers wants, that's marketable, that gives that premium feel, but also at the same time doing it in a way that can be manufactured effectively, and cost effectively. So I do think it's a critical role, and I think credit to them to seeing the synergies between those two.
Which is wonderful and fair. But in all due respect to, aren't we just talking about cases of wine? How many SKUs did you actually have there?
Oh, there's a ton of SKUs, right? I mean, they
I'm saying aside from cases of wine, boxed wine, et cetera, or whatever.
You're saying, so excuse me, just
yes.
to your question. So you have a bunch of glass in a bottle of wine, right?
Sure.
And you have bag in the box, you have plastic.
There you go.
You have all those different various variations of how to deliver wine to the consumer. Wine in kegs now, right? So you have many different forms to be able to get that product into the hands.
The boxed wine, does that really sell?
Oh yeah, definitely.
It gets out the door.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's a great, it's a great product. It's, it's something that, stays fresh for days to come.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So you're really making sure that everybody in the United States and otherwise can drink wine at in an affordable way.
I was.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
yes.
And then when did you realize, okay, maybe it's time for the next thing?
Yeah, I think my reason for change was really more personal than professional. I was looking to make a move to a new location where my now wife is, where my girlfriend at the time, my now wife, was living, and so it was really driven by more personal desires than professional needs.
So you're up in wine country.
So now I'm in San Francisco,
And she was in
California.
San Francisco.
And she was in San Francisco.
So we
I
had
was
to
in
make
wine.
sure that happened is
Yep,
what it was.
exactly.
You knew this was the right one.
Yeah.
Are you married now?
I am. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Do you have any kids yet?
We do not.
All right.
No.
I'm just going to leave that there
Yeah.
because that's an annoying question to some people.
Not annoying.
It's not annoying.
No.
I mean, you're fine. Is she in the wine business?
She works on her own. She's a design consultant, but many of her clients are actually in the wine industry today.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So we bring up design, and then you work for Method, and I told you I'm a huge Method fan.
Yep.
And I basically asked you why. Why am I a Method fan? Right. And so, when did you find them? How did they find you? How did that all happen?
Yeah, so in this instance, I was looking for a company, that was located in or around San Francisco, but also, as you grow in your career, you really become a little bit more choiceful around who you want to work for, right? And so this was a company that was mission driven. Had a lot. It was a company that you were proud to work for. You're proud to tell people that you worked for this company. A lot of the things that I hold, and value, this company really, valued the same things, environmental, awareness, natural products, design forward, like all those things are very, very important, and they're really starting to resonate, and they are resonating in the marketplace. But, those are some of the things that I was looking for in the next company that I moved to.
Sure. And so I've got the Method, bottles on the sink there. And so I think to myself when I look at it, that's a pretty bottle.
Yeah.
And then I also think to myself, I'm doing a good job here because I'm, decreasing my footprint, what have you. And so that's how I relate to, to the product. What have you learned? You've got, a unique place as far as the consumer is concerned, meaning if you don't get it to me, I don't get it.
Right.
What have you learned about the Method consumer?
You know what? That's a good question. I think, I don't know, what have I learned about the consumer? I think that's a good question. I think the consumer wants, they want convenience, right? They want that product to be there whenever they're looking for it. They want something that they feel comfortable and safe with, right? They want something that they're proud to put out on their countertop, on their sink, right? They're proud, similar to the reasons of why I was proud to go work for the company, right? That's what consumers are looking for, is something that they're proud to display, and they're proud to show that, they are a consumer of Method, right? They do use those products. They're good for the environment. They're good for the people that use them, and it's a company that, you can kind of stand behind. And I think that's what consumers are looking for.
There you go. All right. So we learned how to bridge the gap between manufacturing and marketing, or the other way around, to make sure that the product gets out the door. Take us through, if you would. We're going to launch a new line at Method, right? Or the last one that you did. How does that actually occur? Because you guys have wacky bottles. I mean, nothing is ever easy, right?
Yep.
So how does it all happen?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a very iterative process, right? We consider our pace of innovation and our innovation, right, as one of our competitive strengths in the marketplace. We feel like we do it faster and sometimes better than the others that are out there, and that really allows us to to compete with the bigger companies. So, some of the things that we do differently, we don't really rely on a lot of market research, right? We rely on the people that are developing the products, the people that work in our office, right, to help us develop and put out the right products that consumers are looking for, that they want.
Well,
They
but
may
wait
not
a second.
know it.
Let me just interrupt,
Yeah.
because you said, but you said they might not know.
They might not know it yet, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, how do you innovate in the category and in the space? They didn't know that they wanted a premium design forward consumer, or a home cleaning product. until Method came along.
There you go.
And
Very,
so
very
similar,
Steve Jobs of you guys, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
So you can, we try to leverage that thinking, throughout all of our innovation. But it's, it's also, we don't want to, we want to design in a way that is differentiated. And so, our supply chain, our manufacturing is really built to be responsive, to be flexible, right? We're a support function, right? We are not the driver. And should not be the driver in our product-based decisions. And I think that's why you'll see our products maybe are a little bit different than, in terms of design than others that are out there.
Doesn't it mean that it's going to cost way more?
Potentially, right? Potentially. But, finding ways to do that effectively, in a cost-effective manner is why we're there.
That's why
right?
you get up in the morning.
Exactly.
Can you give us an example? I'm going to put you on the spot. Can you give us an example of that?
Yeah. So I think one, very clear example, if you look at, our teardrop shape hand soap bottle, which is probably the most iconic product that we have out on the marketplace, it is not really designed for manufacturing. It is,
or shipping,
or shipping, right? So it's in a shape that, the way it's printed kind of, rubs up against each other. It's very difficult to get it, to that end consumer in a way that's undamaged. But what we've done is we've actually launched our own, the first ever LEED Platinum manufacturing facility, built from the ground up in the Chicago area. And we've in-housed a lot of those supply chain functions. So we've taken what used to be, we would produce bottles in one location. We'd ship them to another location, get printed. We ship them to another location to get filled. We ship them to another location to then be fulfilled to our customers. And we've now all in-housed all that. We've taken out weeks out of the supply chain. We've taken cost out of transportation, and we've found ways to make that more effective. Not only from a cost standpoint, but also in a lead time and responsiveness.
That's you've truly designed the supply chain as internally as possible.
Yeah.
So that must have been, costly.
Yeah, it was an amazing adventure, right? Getting that facility up and going.
How long into it are we?
2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you think that whether it be investors or the street, how did we allow for such an expenditure?
Well, I think you see where our business is going. We operate our business in and we really look at it in a three-tiered approach. One is what the value we are bringing to people. Right, people can be our internal workforce. They can be our external padvocates, is what we call them.
Say padvocates?
Padvocates.
What's a padvocate?
So the name of our company, Method is one of our brands. The name of our company is actually People Against Dirty.
Oh, wow.
So we operate with two brands. We have the Method brand, which I think everyone here is most familiar with, and then we have an EcoVare brand, which is primarily sold in the natural channel. And so two brands under the name of People Against Dirty. So we bring value to people, internal and external. We bring value. We reduce our impact on the environment, and then we bring value to the company and the shareholders. And we do that in a way that And so I think that long-term investment in those three tiers really gives us. Is one of the primary drivers of why we invested in in-house manufacturing. It allows us to really pull on each one of those levers to create a platform for us to grow over time.
Yeah, it's almost the means justify the end as opposed to the other way around. So that's 2 years in. Obviously, you've taken out time, you've taken out cost, with the upfront, but whatever. What else have you learned from that experience, being the guy that basically kind of, oversees that, I'm sure, at least in some respect?
Yeah, I mean, what have I learned? I think I've learned a tremendous amount. I've been with the company for 6 years. It's a company that's growing, very fast. I think for the reasons that we talked about, and I think I'd expect to continue to learn from this company as we continue to grow, as we continue to expand the channels that we play in, the markets that we play in, and bring our product and our mission to a broader segment of people.
Well, you've almost brought. We kind of talked about it earlier. You've almost brought your mission to a new subset of companies that I now see in the store, right? It used to just be Method, and now I've got 2 or 3 options right next to it. What do the founders say? What do you think in regards to all that?
Yeah, I think they're the way the founders would, likely look at it and would likely think about it is, we're doing the right things, right? And the more people leverage, the way we think about it, the way we think, the way we do things, I think the more that, it's just going to be better for everyone in general, right? The more natural products there are out there that are out there in the marketplace versus toxic products, then, I think that's just going to be better for us as a whole.
There you go. Us being, humans.
Humans.
There you go. Us that are bought into this whole people against dirty thing.
Exactly.
Which is brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, who's not against dirty?
Right.
Right. All right. I've got 3 final questions for you. I will tell
Okay.
you what they are, and then I will ask you them in order.
Okay.
First one is, what has most surprised you at work? Second one is, what has most surprised you in life? And the third one is, on the soundtrack of your life, Jeremy, one track, one song that's got to be on there. First things first, what has most surprised you in work in general?
I would say the pace, and the pace of change, I think is probably the thing that has surprised me the most. I think you put an organization, a team around a problem, and you ask them to solve it, and the pace at which that team is able to accomplish those things, it's something that's pretty remarkable. And I think I never really anticipated that I would see that the way I do, and the way I've really seen it at Method. And so I would say that's probably the one thing that's surprised me the most.
People are pretty resilient, right?
Yeah.
Quick when we need to be.
Right. Exactly.
What has most surprised you in life?
Most surprised me in life? I don't know. That's a really deep, tough question to answer. I would probably
it's like the biggest question.
Yeah, no kidding. I think what's probably surprised me the most is, I grew up small town, very family oriented, still into this day. And, I would think that's the thing that surprised me the most is, how I live now across the country, but yet I've still remained so close. And I think, those are, there are many reasons for that, technology, et cetera. But the ability to kind of, live where you want to live and create your own life, but yet still, kind of maintain those family roots is probably been one of the things I guess I've been surprised about. I never thought I'd be able to live out in California.
Sure.
And still have the family environment that I have today.
There you go. You can take the guy out of the small town,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So, soundtrack. On the soundtrack of your life, one track, one song that's got to be on there.
Oh my gosh.
So it doesn't have to be the perfect song.
You're just going to get the first song that comes to my head, I think.
That's possible. It's possible. It's your soundtrack. Man.
I have absolutely no clue. So I'm going to go with, we'll go back to baseball.
Sure.
I think.
Yeah.
And so we'll do the put me in coach.
Oh, yeah. Center field.
Yeah.
John Fogerty.
I'm always there. I'm always ready. So, kind of put me in the game and we'll get there.
Come on, Jeremy Bruno. That's perfect. It's good talking to you.
All right. You too. Thanks so much.
And there you have Jeremy Bruno from Method Products. Interesting how they approach it, and interesting that they completely reinvented their own supply chain to make sure that they could produce the products that they wanted to produce right here in the United States of America. Thank you, Jeremy, for his time. Thank you for your time, and stay tuned.